Okay, so welcome to the Packers versus Vikings breakdown. This is going to be, honestly, a tough one. I'm on the fence about where to go with my prediction, but you'll at least be able to see all the different connections I was able to make. The Packers are favored by 1.5. We're playing on 9/11. So September 11th, which we know is a big day. It's got date numerology of 62. Obviously 6 plus 2 is 8. So when you reduce this date, it's always going to equal 8. So it's a day with 8 numerology. And it's a date with 17 numerology. And 17 and 62 are going to factor into this game for sure. The Packers lead the series 64, 56, and 3 all time. And they lead the regular season series 63, 55, and 3. They are 1-1 in the playoffs against them. From Aaron Rodgers' birthday till the game is a span of 283, or a total of 284 days. From Rodgers' next birthday is a span, from the game until Rodgers' next birthday is a span of 82 days, and a total of 83 days, or 2 months and 22 days in 2022 to kick off the Packers' 2022 season. Kirk Cousins, from his last birthday until the game is a span of 23 days and a total of 24 days, or 3 weeks and 3 days, like 33. From the game till his next birthday is 11 months and 9 days, or 49 weeks, so 343 days total. As you can see the records here, just in case you want to look and reference it yourself later. We got the head coaches, 313 days, or 312 days. As you'll see, 312 comes into play. Or it's a span of 53, total of 54 days, 1 month and 24 days from the game until his next birthday, which is November 3rd. Kevin O'Connell's the new head coach in the league, 37 years old, 0-0-0 record, right? It's a span of 109, or a total of 110 days. And you'll see 109 comes into play as we move on here. So we start off with the 124 narrative. So Kirk Cousins will be playing his 124th game all time in the Packers and Vikings 124th meeting all time. From Kirk Cousins' last birthday until the game is a total of 24 days. From the game until LaFleur's birthday is 1 month and 24 days, so there's a 124, right? Cousins could stay at 24 home losses in the regular season all time, and LaFleur is 42 years old, and that's the mirror of 24. If you type out Freemason, right, we know the Masons have a lot to do with these games, you get 42 in full reduction and 48 in reverse reduction. Now Rodgers could stay at 48 away losses in the regular season all time if he gets his 57th win and his 62nd win on a date with 62 numerology, right? Now we know Rodgers was the 24th pick in the draft, and we know we got rid of Zadarius Smith, who signed a $42 million contract with the Vikings. So there's your 42 and 24. Mason, so like Masons, Mason equals 62 in English ordinal and 17 in full reduction. Rodgers could get his 17th win versus the Vikings all time on Sunday, and his 62nd away win all time. This would give Cousins his 62nd loss all time and his 26th home loss all time, which is the mirror of 62. Now, staying at 54 losses away all time, Freemasonic equals 54. And to do all this on a date with 62 numerology and 17 numerology, right? So the Packers Rodgers gets his 17th win versus the Vikings on a date with 62 numerology, gets his 62nd away win all time. And the date also has 8 numerology, and I think 8 is one of the most important numbers here. Remember 19 is the 8th prime. That will probably come into handy later down the line. This would kick off the Vikings' 62nd season as well. So another reason that Rodgers could get his 62nd away win all time to kick off the Vikings' 62nd season, right? Now, I was looking at the mirror symbolism quite a bit. Now, the Packers can get their 65th win versus the Vikings all time, making the series 65 and 56. Those are mirror numbers, right? Cousins could get his 62nd loss all time and his 26th home loss all time. So those are mirror numbers, right? Rodgers would get his 62nd away win, which we just discussed. Now, if you type out Queen, we know Queen Elizabeth just died, you get 62 in English ordinal and 26 in full reduction. So that's obviously mirror symbolism right there. Queen Elizabeth equals 150, 69, 228, and 66. Now, Rodgers could stay at 150 wins all time if he loses this game, right? And that would be in his 228th game. And he enters with 66 regular season wins. I didn't mean to say wins. He enters with 66 regular season losses overall. So Elizabeth II is 106 in English ordinal, 61 in full reduction, 191 in reverse ordinal, and 65 in reverse full reduction. Remember, the Packers could get their 65th win versus the Vikings. But Rodgers could stay at 61 wins away all time. Cousins could get his 61st win all time, staying at 61 losses all time. And 106 is much like 61, right? The 1 and the 6, the 0 being a placeholder. You have blood sacrifice. We know a lot of these people at the high levels are done away by the numbers. And so 121 is English ordinal for blood sacrifice, 67 and 257 is reverse ordinal. So Rodgers could get his 67th loss in Cousins' 121st game after the Queen's death. And 257 is the 55th prime number, and the Vikings could stay at 55 wins against the Packers all time. We know Rodgers got hurt against the Vikings with number 55 bar, and then we also know that Zadarius Smith wore 55 for the Packers. And this would give LaFleur his 42nd win all time if LaFleur was to win. And that would be a total of 24 days from Cousins' last birthday. Also a span of 342 from the game until Cousins' next birthday. Matt LaFleur is 42 years old going into this game. We know a lot of the symbolism has to do with Judaism and Christianity, which comes from Judaism. Messiah in Hebrew equals 16, right? They're crowning a new king. And Messiah is the Jewish form of king, right? So we have to look at that and take it seriously. Messiah in Hebrew equals 16, 52, so Hebrew reduction, Hebrew ordinal, and 358. So mirror of 16 is 61. We discussed above all the 61 that could happen. Rodgers could stay at 61 away wins. Cousins could get his 61st win overall. He could stay at 61 losses. And that's the mirror of 16. The mirror of 52 is 25, and Cousins could stay at 25 losses at home all time. Now, it's Judaism, right, equals 38. Minnesota equals 38. 11 in full reduction, 16 in reverse full reduction. So there's your 16 again. It would be the Packers' 38th loss in week 1. And 83 days till Rodgers' next B-Day, and 83 is linked to the word football and the reflection of 38. Jesus is a Jewish Messiah that equals 11 in full reduction and 61 in reverse ordinal. So there's the 61 again, staying at 61. Jewish politician Laura Loomer has been pushing Christian nationalism, right? She's all for Christian nationalism. So 228 is English ordinal, 93 in full reduction, 312 in reverse ordinal. Remember I said that 312 would come in to play. So you have here 228, it's Rogers' 228th game. They're using Christian nationalism as a way to keep people on the reservation, right? Not get them questioning what's really going on. Aaron Charles Rogers, 93 full reduction, 312, also to scapegoat Christian nationalism at the end of the story. So Rogers has the same full reduction and the same reverse ordinal, and this overlaps with Christian nationalism and brings us into the 11 narrative. So it would seem the 11 narrative does not favor the Packers because it's Kirk Cousins' 121st regular season game, which is 11 squared, or the 11 square number, right? 11 times 11. Zipporah, which is another word for Jewish Messiah, because Zipporah means bird. Bird is another way that the Jews discuss the Messiah, their king. So Zipporah equals 49 in Jewish reduction, 121 in Jewish ordinal, and 42 in reverse full reduction. Now, we saw that Rogers could get his 49th loss in Kirk Cousins' 121st game, and we saw the 42 and 24 symbolism up there. So Matt LaFleur could get his 11th loss regular season in this game, and Rogers could get his 11th loss versus the Vikings all time. The game will be played on 9/11, so the 11th day. 11 months, 9 days till Cousins' next birthday, so 9/11. Plus note that Rogers can get his 17th win versus the Vikings all time in Week 17 in the Packers' 16th game of the season, which will be on January 1st, which is 1-1, which is 11. So the 11 could go back into play when Rogers plays them again. This would give Rogers his 77th loss all time, 11 times 7, right? Rogers enters with 66 regular season losses total, 11 times 6. It's 3 weeks and 3 days from Cousins' last birthday till the game, 33, which is 11 times 3. 24 is a superabundant number, which equals 33. Aaron Rodgers enters having played 227 total games, which is 33 minutes until 3. This gives Rodgers his 55th away loss all time, 11 times 5. And the Vikings enter with 55 away wins versus the Packers in the regular season. And Anthony Barr, number 55, hurt Rodgers back in the day, as we all remember, and that was 77 days before the new year. So there's the 77 connection again. This would make LaFleur 41 and 14 all time, and that adds to the mirror narrative, but against the Packers, right? If Rodgers loses, it will be his 49th regular season away loss, which is 7 times 7, or coded 77. And again, 11 times 7. Adding to the square ritual, 49 is the 7th square number. Kirk equals 49, as in Kirk Cousins, and 22 in full reduction, and 59 in reverse ordinal. Kirk could stay at 59 wins or 59 losses, so that's really a wash. We can't look at that there. Rodgers could get his 49th regular season loss all time. And Aaron, 49 and 22 full reduction. So now, Aaron Rodgers has had a lot of 11 symbolism throughout his career. A lot of 24, right? 24, he was drafted 24. They don't ever shut up about it, right? So Aaron equals 49, could get his 49th loss to start the 2022 season, 22 in full reduction. We have to note that Allen Lazard is doubtful to play, and Lazard's birthday is on 12/11, so it's doubtful that LaFleur will stay on 13 losses. They did this last year too. They did this with one of our players last year. I think it was number 71, remember, to start the season. And they used that as symbolism to show that Rodgers was going to stay at something. I'd have to go back and look at the tweets. It was last year now. But Kirk Cousins could get his 5th win versus the Packers all time, which 11 is the 5th prime number. So it just keeps piling on. So 36 and 666 narrative. You add up 1 through 36, right? It's a triangular number. It equals 666. So Cousins could get his 36th home win all time. '24 is a super abundant number, which equals 33, and also 36, depending. Manly Hall gives it a 33. Last time the Packers played the Vikings, it was 1/2/2022. So that was 36 weeks ago, and now 36 weeks later, Cousins can get his 36th win versus the Pack at home. If Cousins wins, he could get his 61st win all time and stay at 61 losses all time, while leaving Rodgers 61 away wins all time. 61 is the 18th prime number. To go along with the primes, right? Rodgers would get his 67th regular season loss. 67 is the 19th prime number. It's a day with 8 numerology. 19 is the 8th prime. Rodgers would stay at 139 regular season wins, and 139 is the 34th prime. Freemasonry equals 139. So Rodgers could get his 151st win all time, and 151 is the 36th prime number. So that works out for the Packers and Rodgers. Rodgers could stay at 66 losses in the regular season. Charles is going to be named king. Rodgers is king of the North, and Charles equals 66. Rodgers is king of the North, and Aaron Charles Rodgers, so Charles equals 30. Vikings are 30 and 30 versus the Packers at home all time. Now there's a Gematria 108 narrative. Cousins could get his 60th win regular season. 60 is a super abundant number, which equals 108. Geometry equals 108. In reverse ordinal, and 36 full reduction. So playing LaFleur a span of 10 months and 8 days from his last birthday. Freemasonic equals 108 in ordinal, and 54 in full reduction. So more 108. The shape of the game. It's a date with 8 numerology. 8 is the second octagonal number to start 2022. LaFleur could get his 40th regular season win, which is the 4th octagonal number, and that would give the Packers their 65th win versus the Vikings all time, which is the 5th octagonal number. So there could be an octagonal narrative. There is also a square narrative. Cousins can get his 36th all-time home win, which is the 6th square number. Rodgers can get his 49th regular season away loss, which is the 7th square number, leaving the Packers at 64 wins versus the Vikings all time, which is the 8th square number on a day with 8 numerology. And Cousins' 121st regular season game all time, which is the 11th square number, and this leaves Cousins at 25 home losses all time, which is the 5th square number. The square narratives tend to be fairly big when it comes to these games, also pentagonal numbers. Now we checked the news to see what was going on, and Rodgers' teammate Pat O'Donnell put a Book of Mormon in his locker. So that was from September 7th this week, leading up to the game. Book of Mormon equals 62 and 55. So 62, Aaron Rodgers could get his 62nd away win and give Cousins his 62nd loss, and the Vikings could stay at 55 regular season wins. So it's worth looking at. Mormon, though, equals 88. 88 is a big number. Game is on a date with 8 numerology. And he called him a door-to-door Mormon guy. So we know the gates, the doors, big things, right? Door-to-door equals 139. Rodgers could stay at 139 wins in the regular season. So again, narrative against him. Minnesota is purple. Purple equals 88. The colors themselves are the forces we need to be concerned with. And 22 narrative in 2022 is that the game kicks off the 2022 season 2 months and 22 days till Rodgers' next birthday. What are the odds of that? Aaron equals 49 and 22. Right? He can stay at 40. He can get his 49th loss and to start the 22 season. He equals 22. Kirk equals 49 and 22. Kirk can give Rodgers his 49th loss to start the 2022 season. green, as in Green Bay, in the green ray of Saturn equals 49. The Queen just died and Charles will now be king. So that's 41, 23, 67, and 22. Raj has made a comment about dominating the NFC North, and the media fact-checked whether or not he truly was the king of the North. The Jewish king is Mashiach. So 62, 35, 154, and 46. Rogers could get a 60-second win, and Cousins could get a 60-second loss. Again, we keep coming back to that narrative because it's a date with 62 numerology. Starts the 2022 season right after the Queen dies. So the Queen narrative seems to benefit us a little bit because of the 62. Also, on the Jewish side of the coin, the Messiah. The King narrative seems to not benefit us as much, right? Seems to benefit, like if you're going with the word king, you're looking at more of a Rogers getting his 49th loss, 22. If you go into the Mashiach realm, Rogers gets his 60-second win and Cousins gets a 60-second loss. And also Rogers could stay at 76 losses to start the season, if you spell Mashiach with an O instead of an A, and get his 140th win regular season all time. This would give LaFleur his 40th win in the regular season. This is where I think we're going to see what we should be paying attention to more. The English word king or the Jewish Messiah, Mashiach, this, that, and the other thing. You know, what filter, what cipher should we be using to decode this narrative? And I think this will be telling. We're going to have to notice these things over the course of a season. So these things are synced up with the US Open tennis tournament, right? Rafael Nadal entered the US Open as the 2 seed to finish the Grand Slams, which is, there's 4 Grand Slams, right, in tennis. There's Australia, there's French, there's Wimbledon, and then there's the US Open. So he entered with 2 Grand Slam wins coming into the US Open because he won Australia and French. He entered the US Open as the 2 seed. Okay? This gave Nadal, winning the Australian and French gave Nadal his 22nd Grand Slam all time in 2022. He faced Francis Tiafoe, who was the 22 seed in the US Open. Tiafoe ended Nadal's 22 match winning streak. So the 2 seed Nadal faces the 22 seed, ending a 22 match win streak, leaving Nadal at 22 Grand Slams for the rest of 22 in the final Grand Slam of 2022. If you type out Rafael Nadal in reverse ordinal, it equals 222, like 2022. King equals 22. Nadal is the king of clay, as they say. Nadal's record on clay is ridiculous. He's only ever lost 3 matches at the French Open. I think like 2 of them he had to withdraw. Rogers is the king of the North, and Charles is going to be crowned king. And Rogers' middle name is Charles. A lot of interwoven stuff going on here. There's a 44 narrative, right? Packers equals 44, Vikings 44, Wisconsin 44. So Cousins is 4-3-1. And if he loses, he can get his 4th loss versus the Packers, which is 44. Now, to add to the 33 narrative, he is 3-2 at home versus the Packers, and he can go 3-3. The Vikings are 3-4 versus the Packers in week 1 and could get their 4th win, so that would make it 44. So really it sort of cancels out. The 44 can go either way, right? And Minneapolis is on the 44th meridian. So Cousins could go 4-4, the Vikings could go 4-4, right? And then Cousins equals 28 in full reduction, and Rogers 228th game. Could have the Vikings going 4-4 versus the Packers, or Cousins going 4-4 versus the Packers, either way. In the 77 narrative, because Green Bay is full with 77, we've gone over that a lot on this channel. Green Bay 77 in English ordinal, 139 reverse ordinal. Rogers could get his 77th loss all time versus the Vikings on 9/11. September 11th equals 77. World Trade Center 77. Right? We had like the 77-minute flight, the 77-foot tall Pentagon, like all this other stuff, right? So the whole day is littered with 77. Remember, 11 is like a representation of two towers, right? A 1 and a 1. The destruction of the two towers and then the building of the third temple. So Rodgers would stay at 139 wins regular season overall, and LaFleur would stay at 39 wins. So they've been synced up. You know, what are the odds they bring in a coach at 39 years old, and in his first 3 seasons, he gets 39 wins, and Rodgers happens to be on 139 regular season wins. They're so synced up. So now if Rodgers gets his 140th win, it'll be in sync with LaFleur's 40th win, and so on and so forth. And so Twin Towers equals 49. We know Rodgers could get his 49th regular season away loss. So more narrative against the Packers. They're playing the Twin Cities. So the Twin Cities is 67, 139. So Rodgers staying at 139 wins, plus all the 77 connections. Rodgers gets his 77th overall loss, and then he gets his 67th regular season loss, and Twin Cities equals 67, 139. So a lot stacking up against the Packers, right? And then Kevin O'Connell's narrative. So you got 151, 61, 265. So Rodgers can get his 151st win, and the Packers could get their 65th overall win versus the Vikings against Kevin O'Connell in his first game. So that's in favor of the Packers. But Cousins could get his 61st away win all time. I mean, he could get his 61st win all time and stay at 61 losses all time. And Rodgers could stay at 61 all-time road wins, so 61 that full reduction. Again, this is a case of which cipher matters most, and is this, you know, which it'll be more and which fits with the overall narrative of the larger season. A picture which is hard to put together when you're just us looking at one fraction of 32 teams and what the overall records will be by the end. That starts to flesh itself more out, I think, by week 4. And then by the playoffs, all narratives are so tight again that it becomes hard again to decide. So here you got O'Connell, 90, 36, 126, 36. So Cousins could get his 36th win, right, at home. Kevin equals 61, so all the 61 that we have there. Like Rodgers staying at 61 and all that. And also he equals 25, and Cousins could stay at 25 home losses, and that reinforces the 5 narrative, right? 11 is the 5th prime, 5 times 5 is 25. So the square, you know, the square number there. So, and then you have Cousins can get, I think, his 5th win, right? So Rodgers could get his 17th win versus the Vikings all time. 17 equals 109, 37, 134, 44. There's that 44 again. So O'Connell is 37 years old. Vikings equals 37 and 44. O'Connell began as an assistant coach with the Jets 109 days after his B-Day. Remember the Jets and the Twin Tower ritual, the 2 Jets who injured Drew Bledsoe with the 11, you know, like the Twin Towers. Pure green equals 109, 55, 44. And pure purple equals 148, 58, 122. So, as you can see, I mean, we could go on and on all day. I do think the king and the queen stuff weighs in mighty heavy. I don't know if we can bet against the 11 narrative this week. The mirror symbolism, the 11 narrative, but the mirror symbolism I think can work a lot in both ways. You know, as we see here, you know, Kirk Cousins gets that 61 and is the mirror of the 16. And then that would be much more on the Hebrew side of things. And 11, 1 is obviously a mirror of 1, the reflection of itself. And out of its reflection comes the 2, right? And so, just with it being 9/11, with all the Aaron Rodgers and the number 11 that's going down over the years, I think it would be pretty hard to bet against the fact that we may get upset in week 1, and we have this narrative to then come back on 1/1 and play the Vikings again and then beat them on New Year's Day. So with all that, I think honestly it kind of looks more like the Packers could get upset, but it just depends, which thing weighs more. And for me, this is kind of like a learning game. I want to see where it's at. If I'm pressed to make a pick, I'm gonna have to say it seems just more like the Packers could get upset in this one, because there seems to be better narratives down the road for the Packers to win, and pick up wins in different spots. But this seems like there's a lot of favor for Kirk Cousins, for the 11 narrative, for September 11th, and all that. So yeah, I think that right now everything lines up for the Vikings to upset us. I hope that's not the case, as always. But I think in this case I'd be better to be safe than sorry and just say, hey, a lot lines up against us this week, and chances are we're probably not going to come out on top just because they're setting it up this way. And I think overall throughout the season we'll be absolutely fine. But again, they did this last time. Does 13 being out mean LaFleur's going to stay at 13 losses, or does him being doubtful mean it's doubtful that LaFleur will stay at 13 losses? And I think that's how it actually worked out last time. It was like, it meant that LaFleur would probably, or Rodgers or whoever, would not stay at that 13th loss or whatever. That the doubtful meant that it was going to be gone. And 41 is the 13th prime, so there's always that. It's doubtful that it'll stay at 41, and then we got the 42 and 24 working. It's just one of those games that's extremely tight. So use your discretion if you're betting, obviously. Best to collect information. I mean, this game shouldn't be like a huge payment either way anyways, right? Like, we're only favored by 1.5 points. But we're probably going to lose, so the fact that we're favored means, you could take a risk on us being upset. And unfortunately, I think that's the way it's looking to start the season right now. So, but I think we'll probably go on a run after that. I haven't done the next week's games, but I think it's looking like there are narratives. I think it's looking like there are narratives for us to go on a run after we lose the first game again. So we'll see. I think 8, 19 being the 8th prime, 8's going to have a lot to do with everything that's going on, and we're going to unravel it piece by piece over the course of the season. So stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the game. Go Pack, go. May the script be ever in our favor.